NFL on the Run podcast. The project is co-financed by the European Union.
Hello, I'm Mara Arvai from Hungary, Szeged. I'm representing JOPA, Youth for Participation Association. This podcast episode is all about the overwhelming mind of young people that we, in our different sectors, face a lot when young people are coming to our activities. We can see several times that they are arriving from a school or from a stressed situation because they are there in body, but in their minds are full with absolutely different things, absolutely different thoughts. They are overwhelmed. So it's really important how then we can support them. I have two beautiful guests having a lot of experiences that how they can support young people when they arrive to their activities, scout clubs and their youth center with absolutely overwhelmed mind. May I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hi, nice to be here. I'm Matthias. I'm working with the NGO Jugendkulturarbeit in Oldenburg, Germany. We are working in the field of youth. As an organization, we do a lot of theater work, international youth work, and I'm working as civic educator and political educator, or you can say human rights education.
Thank you, Matthias. Eric?
Hello, my name is Eric Blažić. I come from Slovenia. I'm representing Scouts. I work with children from 6 years old to 15 years old.
Thank you. You are here because both of you and your organizations have several experiences, good practices, stories, how you support young people when you recognize that your young people are there in their bodies, but their mind is full with homework or other stress factors what they have in their life. So I would like to ask you to share some nice examples, thoughts, approach what you have in your work towards such type of situation. So Matthias, I would like to give you the floor.
Thank you. Before we go to the concrete methods, I would like to do a little reality check, how we can handle the overwhelmed minds, or better said, why are the young minds are so overwhelmed. And I would say today it's more than ever. And I would like to underline that it's not their fault. It's not the fault of the young people. And if they feel overwhelmed, there is no right or wrong. And you already mentioned school, and it's one influence of many others. There are so many points with pressure on the youth. It's social media, it's all the expectations young people have for themselves. It's the speed of the digital world, the multiple crises, the wars, climate change, and so on. So it's many influences, and we can see the effects in our daily life, our daily youth work. It's the lack of focus. People are not more really concentrated. We have to adapt our methods for shorter periods of time because the concentration is a little bit lacking. What we see in our work is a lot of perfectionism, and when I talk with my older colleagues, it's grown in the last 20 years, the feeling of not being enough. So these are all major struggles. Yeah, and it's not only phones, but the multitasking, the mental fatigue, the procrastination, the not finishing things. And we are doing a lot of theater work, and the performance anxiety is getting bigger and bigger. So the feeling of not being enough, that the young people want to be perfect, has to do something with their inner critical voice. And that's one thing I want to address here.
Thank you very much, Matthias. That was a really valued explanation regarding what we mean and what your organization mean when we are speaking about overwhelming mind of young people. You mentioned several topics already, like methods, just for example, theatrical ones, where you refer to that you can explore that, and nowadays the stage fever or the anxiety of young people is growing even in these theater activities, that you recognized, your colleagues recognize this. So my question is, if you can share any like nice ideas, methods, how you support young people to face with these overwhelming mind challenges, how you support young people not to be overwhelmed in their mind and be there not only physically, but focusing with their minds and hearts as well to the things what they can do in your organization.
Yeah, we can try to support them. We can't fix them because we are not...
I don't think that we need to fix them.
And we are not psychologists. So what we can do is creating spaces and give the room and tools of reflection and to release the stress, or tools for reconnect with themselves. And I think one nice method is creative writing. It's a nice tool. Writing in general is a nice tool, like journaling. It helps you reflect your mind. But you can use this tool specifically to address your inner critic voice. So it's a simple tool. It's a powerful tool. and it's a deeply personal tool. So I mentioned in the beginning that young people are stressed. There's a lot of perfectionism and self-comparison. And to break the cycle, we can use the tool of creative writing to make the inner voice visible, to externalize the inner voice.
Could you say us an example about this?
So basically, you need to create a space where you introduce this method that you are going to write text with your group. And one method could be that you just give a moment, let's say 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and they should write fragments without the topic, just a stream of consciousness, you can call it. They just don't put their pens down. And then you count the time and they write. So the magic will happen because some people will write furiously and some will think about what they will write. But then it's a clear end and you can discuss the process. And usually you already get to the point where the young people are addressing the inner critic voice. And that's a starting point. You can do rounds and rounds and rounds. Basically, it's a method you want to write nice texts, but here you address the inner critic voice. And the second adaptation of this method is, let's say you take 3 rounds. The first round is, let's say, 3 minutes to address what is your inner critic voice. So the young people are writing about their inner critic voice. Then you immediately go to the next round. You say to them, okay, let's breathe. And then this second 3 minutes starts, where they describe how the inner voice is looking like. If the voice is dressed or which hair it has. So they can get creative. And the last round, they describe what they can do against the inner critic voice. So it's a short span of time, but you get a lot of output and you can discuss. And with all these methods, you invite in the end the young people to read out loud. And you again said there is no right or wrong. You don't have to share your texts. You can also mention it in the beginning that it's not for the public, but if they feel courageous, they will do. And normally there's one who will start and other ones will follow, perhaps the whole group. But it's okay that they don't share it.
I really love this expression, that inner critic voice. Could you explain what you mean? Because I have something in my mind about this expression, and I think this is a very important expression. So what is inner critic voice?
The inner critic voice is something beautiful because it helps us to organize our daily life. And it encourages us, it helps us to order all the information we get from the world. But sometimes the inner voice gets too strong or gets too loud, and then we are not more able to do anything. It's like a filter. It helps us to filter all the information from the world. But when the holes in the filter are too thin, we are silent.
Thank you, Matthias. Eric, I think your organization is a Scout organization. You have several good examples as well, how you can support young people to find the inner critic voice in one way, and on another way, how they can find their clear mind after being overwhelmed. So if you can share some stories or examples, how you do that with the Scouts.
So the first thing I would say is that I completely understand the overwhelmness of mind itself, because I had problems like that in primary school. I couldn't be still, and it was always that input of information daily, all the time, constantly. You just can't handle everything. You can't handle it. And everybody was just like, oh, stay still, listen. But I couldn't listen. So I understand the children when they can't follow the lead, because I was the same. The point is that you can't concentrate. But when you do concentrate, you concentrate on that one thing that you want to concentrate on. So me personally, I sometimes say to the children, like, we go to the forest and I say, close your eyes. What do you hear? And they are concentrating just on what they hear. And they say, I hear the birds. I hear the leaves rustling. Okay, so when they concentrate on that one thing, it's easier to follow the leadership, or how would I say? Because they have problems with energy and processing all of that input that's given to them daily, and they just need some time off. So basically, I try to integrate it into a game, because it's still a game for them, and it's like, oh, it's time off. We can rest the brain now. But actually, they're learning through the game, and you just have them there then. So I had this one kid that nobody liked working with because he had too much energy and he didn't listen, and I saw kind of myself in him, and I had no problems with him because I knew how he is processing, and I just put a bit more time in him, a bit more effort. So he saw that I care, and I always had his attention because I knew how to get it. And if he wasn't listening, I was like, go and run to there and back, and we'll see what happens. And he ran and he came back. He said, well, I was thinking, and was like, oh yeah, you were thinking while we were running, right? He said, yeah, I was thinking while I was running. So it kind of helped him. So I was like, yeah, I helped the dude.
I think you shared even two very important examples. One of them was the first, if I understood right, that when you go out to the nature with the kids and support them through this activity, that you are asking them to closing their eyes and just listening only one thing around them, which means that you are supporting them a bit to focus, that how we focus on the things around us. What is your goal with this activity?
So that they lock other thoughts, because I need them to be there then, to snap their attention, and you get their attention that you lock all that other thoughts, right? So if you're listening and you're like, oh, what am I actually hearing? You're concentrating on just what you're hearing. And after, it's easier to listen to what you're hearing. So it kind of makes sense because I speak to them then and they listen to me what I say.
Thank you. This is a very nice example for a useful method, how we can help young people to get rid of all the thoughts when they arrive and really focusing on what is right now around them. And the other one, what you mentioned, it was a really good example for a young person who has like a bit different needs, which means that you recognized that like giving a possibility with movements to the young person, running, it's simple, it's nothing special, we believe. But then for him or for her, it can be something really useful because then with movements, then it helped the young person to calm down with the movements, if I got it right.
Yeah, how would I say? There are a lot of thoughts at the same time coming in. And if you're moving your body, one of those inputs are locked because you need to think that you're running. So that is one thought less, and that's basically it. You eliminate one thought and just one remains, or two. Like, I don't know how other people think, but that's how I think. But it helped.
Thank you, Eric. Matthias, any other good methods that you would like to share?
Yes, in our organization we are doing a lot with movement, but a nice method I want to share with you is, I would translate it to a dream travel or imaginative journey. It's a kind of guided meditation for groups, and you can do it, for example, in the beginning of an activity or in the end or even in the middle. And you can adapt it to your context. It is so nice. You just need a little bit of preparation, write a nice text regarding the topic you want to address. You can add questions, and then you start with introducing that you are going to do a calming method. And it's so nice because if you want to de-stress the young persons, they can relax, they can concentrate on your voice and calm down. And it's also kind of community building because everyone is going through the same experience. And in the end, you can talk about what they experienced during the time.
Thank you, Matthias. So you shared a lot of interesting thoughts just right now in this podcast as well. It's linked to writing, creative writing, linked to nature, linked to movements. And during this project, we already shared other good practices. So as a result of this discussion, is there any ideas that you learned from each other that you can adapt to the daily youth work of your organizations?
I liked what Eric said about being out in the nature, not only creating another environment, but being in another environment, and to have other images from the nature, to have other inputs, which can be really calming if you concentrate on them, or creating a nice space within it. It's what I like and I will take with me.
Thank you. So it's really linked to how we create a safe space to young people, either through creative writing in a room, or it could be the creative writing in a nature as well. Thank you, Matthias.
Thank you.
Eric, if you have any idea.
I'm thinking that children are different among each other, and that's why they need a different approach. Every child needs a different approach because we are different. So it doesn't mean that if it works for somebody, it will work for somebody else. And it depends on what person you are, what kind of a worker you are, what kind of children you work with, what is your point.
I think this was a nice summary of our discussion. Both of your approaches really focusing in individual needs of young people. Eric example about the running the kids and supporting the kids with just a simple activity to find himself. But you just said, Matthias, again, it's okay that they are doing together, but it's like the inner critic voice. Of course, you are doing with a group, but it's very individual. And it's like very individual things comes out from it in the same time. And for sure that some people are sharing, maybe even some people doesn't want to share because it's like, it's theirs. So, which is really similar in yours, that you're really, both of yours is really focusing on the individuality and the individual needs, because we are different people with different minds and different needs.
And I think what I hear from you is you can end with what you said, like that it's interesting to have all these different methods because there are so many individual people we are dealing with, and we have to take them serious and we need to build the trust and take the time. So it's why we are always working with two people. So there's always one person who can separate with the person who's struggling. Yeah, to adapt it to your context, and that one method is not working for every group, and you can be creative. And I think an important thing is to trust in the young people and to create a space, and don't think they are not creative enough or that this method is not working for them, but let's try and adapt it to other contexts.
And I believe that you are both creating safe spaces for young people based on their needs. Thank you very much for your discussions.
Thanks for having me.